Hello everyone. Those familiar with the epic novel A Record of a Mortal's Journey to Immortality know that one of the most core and deeply ingrained traits of the protagonist, Han Li, is his unwavering and meticulously defined view of gratitude and resentment. Simply put, if you treat him with sincerity and kindness when he is still humble, he will repay you tenfold, even 100-fold, when he achieves great success and fame. Conversely, if you are blind to his true worth or harbor enmity towards him for personal gain, he will remember this karma and wait for the opportune moment to settle everything with absolute power and wisdom. Today, we will use this as our main thread to delve into and analyze the sects and forces in the human realm arc whose destinies were drastically altered by their good or bad connections with Han Li. Next, we will delve into two main aspects. First, those fortunate enough to prosper and even defy fate thanks to Han Li. Second, those unfortunate souls who, due to a single wrong decision or by actively becoming enemies, ultimately suffered decline and even annihilation. In sects that prospered because of Han Li, abundant Tao fruits from benevolent connections. Han Li's path of cultivation was filled with loneliness and hardship, but it was not entirely a solitary journey. Throughout his long years of cultivation, several sects or forces provided him with crucial assistance, protection, or trust in different ways. These seeds of goodwill ultimately grew into towering trees that sheltered the entire sect after Han Li's rise to power. 1. Luoyun Sect, a keen eye for talent, from mediocrity to peak. The Luoyun sect can be considered one of the most important and deeply intertwined sects in Han Li's life in the mortal realm. When Han Li returned to the Qiannan region from the resource-rich but perilous chaotic Star Sea, he needed a foothold and a new identity. At that time, the Luoyun sect was only a mid-tier power in the Qiannan cultivation world. It only had two early-stage nascent soul cultivators, Cheng Trenquan and Lu Luo, who were not unknown, but far from being prominent. However, the Luoyun sect's attitude towards Han Li demonstrated rare sincerity and foresight. They did not treat Han Li with disrespect because he was a newcomer, nor did they regard him merely as a high-level henchman. Elders Cheng Trenquan and Lu Luo treated Han Li with utmost sincerity, not only sharing their sect's treasured nascent soul cultivation insights and related resources with him, but also providing him with unwavering support and protection in both internal and external sect affairs. This timely trust and respect was especially precious to Han Li, who had experienced many hardships and was accustomed to caution. Han Li reciprocated, officially participating in various major events and conflicts in the Qiannan cultivation world as an elder of the Luoyun sect. From resisting the invasion of the Mulan people to dealing with threats from forces such as the Yinluo sect, Han Li's figure was active on various battlefields. As Han Li repeatedly displayed astonishing combat prowess and unfathomable methods, his personal reputation soared, and the title Elder Han of the Falling Cloud sect became a prestigious name in the cultivation world of Qiannan. Numerous independent cultivators, members of small families, and even cultivators from other forces flocked to the sect, hoping to join or attach themselves to it, causing the sect's strength to grow daily. When Han Li, after overcoming numerous hardships, finally broke through his bottleneck and advanced to the late nascent soul stage, becoming a great cultivator standing at the pinnacle of the human realm, the Falling Cloud sect's reputation and status also reached their zenith, undisputedly rising to become the #1 sect in Qiannan. The essence of this process was a successful two-way journey between a powerful individual and a visionary sect. The success of the Falling Cloud sect profoundly illustrates that in the cultivation world, sometimes the wisdom of choice and treating others far surpasses the value of short-term profit calculations. 2. Huangfeng Valley, the cycle of causal retribution between abandoned pawn and guardian. Huangfeng Valley was the starting point of Han Li's cultivation journey, the first formal sect he entered in this bizarre and wondrous world. As one of the original 7 sects of the Yu Kingdom, Huangfeng Valley provided Han Li with a basic cultivation environment and techniques. However, against the backdrop of the brutal war between the righteous and demonic factions, when the sect faced a crisis of survival and needed to evacuate the Yu Kingdom, Han Li, whose aptitude was not outstanding his apparent pseudo-spiritual route and whose cultivation was still shallow, was ruthlessly used by the sect's decision-makers represented by Patriarch Linghu as a pawn, to attract pursuers and cover the main force's retreat. This event left a deep mark on Han Li's heart, allowing him to truly experience the coldness and reality of the cultivation world for the first time. Time passed, and after Han Li survived countless near-death experiences in the chaotic Star Sea, condensed his nascent soul, and returned to Qiannan, fate brought him back to Huangfeng Valley and Patriarch Linghu. This time, their positions had been reversed. At the Grand Assembly resisting the Mulan people, facing this disciple he had once abandoned but now looked up to, Patriarch Linghu must have felt a complex mix of emotions. Ultimately, both sides reached an agreement based on practical interests. Han Li promised to intervene in 3 major crises facing Huangfeng Valley in the future, thus settling his final karmic debt with the sect. This promise was nothing short of 3 precious, protective charms for Huangfeng Valley. Especially after Patriarch Linghu's lifespan ended and he passed away, Huangfeng Valley, having lost its highest combat power, immediately became easy prey for surrounding, covetous forces. It was precisely through Han Li's 3 interventions that Huangfeng Valley was able to preserve its foundation amidst the turmoil. And when Han Li finally reached the late nascent soul stage and became a force to be reckoned within the human realm, even without a direct return, his very identity as a great cultivator from Huangfeng Valley was the strongest banner protecting the sect. Under his unseen protection, Huangfeng Valley enjoyed a precious period of peaceful development. Not only did it recover its vitality, but it also cultivated new nascent soul cultivators. The sect's overall strength and reputation surpassed its peak during the Yu Kingdom era. This relationship, beginning with betrayal and abandonment, ended with a protective bond based on overwhelming power, imbued with a sense of estrangement, a dramatic twist of cause and effect. 3. Star Palace, a miraculous assistance in times of crisis and lasting blessing. The Star Palace, a colossal entity that has ruled the vast chaotic star sea for tens of thousands of years, possesses a profound foundation and formidable strength, making it one of the top superpowers in the human realm. However, no organization can escape the cyclical law of rise and fall. During the reign of the twin saints of heavenly stars, Ling Xiafeng and Wen Qing, their pursuit of breaking through to the nascent soul stage involved risky cultivation of the primordial magnetic divine light, a powerful yet restrictive technique requiring special conditions. This resulted in them being confined to Heavenly Star City, unable to easily venture out. This presented the righteous and demonic paths of the chaotic Star Sea, long suppressed by the Star Palace, with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Led by the Six-Path Supreme Saint and Wan Sangu, the righteous and demonic forces swiftly united to form the Reverse Star Alliance, launching a full-scale challenge to the Star Palace. With the 2 saints trapped and their high-end combat power limited, the Star Palace's territory was steadily eroded, and its situation became increasingly precarious. In this desperate situation, the 2 heavenly star saints demonstrated the decisiveness and far-sighted planning of true heroes. On one hand, they sacrificed themselves to severely damage the core of the Reverse Star Alliance. On the other hand, they had already placed part of their hopes for revival on Han Li, who had a past connection with the Star Palace and possessed limitless potential. Han Li was no longer the same as before. His cultivation and methods were sufficient to influence the balance of power in the chaotic Star Sea. He accepted the Star Palace's entrustment and deal, intervening at a crucial moment. He not only stabilized the Star Palace's crumbling defenses but also assisted in the final battle, helping the Star Palace crush the core forces of the Reverse Star Alliance, especially by killing its leader, the Six-Path Supreme Saint. This action directly led to the collapse of the massive Reverse Star Alliance. Han Li's intervention was tantamount to turning the tide for the Star Palace, saving its crumbling edifice. The Star Palace was able to consolidate its rule over the chaotic Star Sea. Even more intriguing is the seemingly enduring influence of this goodwill. According to scattered mentions later in the novel, countless years after Han Li ascended to the spirit realm and achieved the Great Tao, the Star Palace remained the ruler of the chaotic Star Sea, its power seemingly more stable and stronger than ever before. Han Li, this former surprise weapon, his fame and latent influence may continue to shine like stars, protecting the Star Palace for countless years to come. 4. The Thousand Bamboo Sect, entrusted with and reviving the Daoist lineage. The Thousand Bamboo Sect's situation is even more unique. It didn't directly owe Han Li a debt of gratitude, but rather shared a bloodline with his crucial mentor and friend, the Great Evolution Divine Lord. Located in the remote western region of the human realm, the Thousand Bamboo Sect's founder was none other than the exceptionally talented Great Evolution Divine Lord, whose obsession with the Tao of puppets delayed his path to enlightenment. In the past, the Great Evolutionary Lord swept across the southern lands, but due to differing ideologies, he traveled to the far west and founded this sect. However, after his lifespan expired, he had to inhabit a puppet with his divine soul. Without its leader, the Thousand Bamboo Sect gradually declined, and by Han Li's time, it was outwardly strong but inwardly weak, merely retaining its name in the far west. Han Li, seeking the follow-up techniques of the Great Evolutionary Manual to enhance his divine sense, traveled to the far west, where he encountered the remnants of the Great Evolutionary Lord's divine soul. Their relationship, initially based on transactions and tests, gradually developed into a deep friendship of mutual respect, mentor and friend. Before his final divine soul dissipated, the Great Evolutionary Lord bestowed upon Han Li the Great Evolutionary Manual, his life's work, and the true essence of the puppet, while solemnly entrusting him with his greatest regret and concern, the continuation of the Thousand Bamboo Sect's lineage. Han Li kept his promise and did not betray this entrustment. He searched diligently and finally found the exceptionally talented young man, Tian Zhong, with a naturally powerful spiritual sense. He took him in as his personal disciple, imparting to him the great evolution technique and exquisite puppetry. Tian Zhong lived up to expectations, successfully condensing his nascent soul with his exceptional aptitude and Han Li's guidance. After achieving this, he returned to the far west, swiftly reorganizing and regaining control of the Thousand Bamboo Sect. Under Tian Zhong's leadership, the Thousand Bamboo Sect, incorporating Han Li's lineage, was reborn from the ashes. Its lineage not only continued but also had the potential to flourish anew. Han Li played the role of a transfer station and foundation builder of revival across time and space, a significance far exceeding the ordinary rise and fall of sects. 2. Forces that declined because of Han Li, a realistic reflection of cause and effect. Just as some rise due to good karma, others decline due to bad deeds. Han Li's revenge is never hesitant and is often precise and deadly. The following forces are typical examples of those who have crossed his line or stood in his way. 1. Yinluo sect. Those who cross his line will incur his wrath. The Yinluo sect, one of the 10 great demonic sects of the Great Jin dynasty, possesses immense power, and its disciples are known for their eccentric and ruthless behavior. This sect is a prime target for Han Li's attacks in the human realm, and its decline is highly representative. The feud between the Yinluo sect and Han Li began with the provocation and pursuit by its own disciples, which already created a grudge. However, the most fatal blow came when they targeted Han Li's Daoist partner, Nanggong Wan. Attempting to harm Nanggong Wan undoubtedly touched upon Han Li's most inviolable sore spot. When Han Li's cultivation reached the late nascent soul stage, possessing the absolute power to sweep across an area, his purge of the Yinluo sect began in earnest. This was not merely a simple contest of skill and power, but a planned operation aimed at fundamentally crippling and even dismantling this demonic behemoth. Han Li, relying on his extraordinary abilities and treasures far surpassing those of his peers, repeatedly devised schemes and launched direct attacks, successively killing several nascent soul stage elders of the Yinluo sect, including the sect master's wife and other core high-ranking members. This was not just a loss of combat power, but a devastating blow to the Yinluo sect's prestige and inheritance structure. Even worse, Han Li did not spare the Yinluo sect's most prized treasures, either seizing or destroying them, completely shaking its foundation. Through this series of precise and ruthless attacks, the Yinluo sect lost more than half of its high-level combat power, and its core inheritance was damaged. From one of the once powerful 10 demonic sects, it rapidly declined into a second or even third-rate force, its decline so swift and complete that it was a lamentable loss, perfectly illustrating Han Li's style of revenge is absolute and tenfold. 2. Xiaoji Palace, an undeserved disaster caused by greed. The story of Xiaoji Palace is filled with the regret and irony of if you don't court death, you won't die. Located in the icy sea of the northern border of the Great Jin dynasty, Xiaoji Palace boasts a long history and profound foundation. It has dozens of nascent soul cultivators, and its overall strength is in no way inferior to the 10 major sects of the Great Jin dynasty. More subtly, the founder of Xiaoji Palace, Fairy Bingpa, has a deep connection with Han Li. One of Han Li's most important opportunities in the mortal realm, the Void Heaven Palace, yielded core treasures such as the Void Heaven Cauldron, which were left behind by Fairy Bingpa. From a certain perspective, Fairy Bingpa can be considered a benefactor from another generation to Han Li. There was no enmity between them. In fact, there was some mutual respect. Han Li's initial purpose in visiting Xiaoji Palace was very simple, to obtain a rare spiritual medicine called Mysterious Ice Flower to cure Nanggong Wan. However, the then Grand Elder of the Lesser Extreme Palace, Han Li Shangren, having failed to break through to the nascent soul stage and with his path to enlightenment nearly severed, coveted the Void Heaven Cauldron in Han Li's possession. He mistakenly believed that with the Lesser Extreme Palace's advantageous location and formations, he could devise a plan to capture and kill Han Li and seize the treasure. This greed completely ruined the Lesser Extreme Palace's promising situation. Han Li's combat experience and shrewdness were unparalleled. He instantly saw through the trap and launched a counterattack. Under the power of the Void Heaven Cauldron, the 8-Spirit Ruler, and other powerful spiritual treasures, and faced with Han Li's endless array of supernatural abilities, Han Li Shangren, along with several nascent soul elders who had assisted him, fell one after another. The Lesser Extreme Palace instantly lost its most elite core of combat power. To make matters worse, at this very moment, Che Lao Yao of the 10,000 Demon Valley and Bingfeng, the Lord of the Ice Sea, who had been eyeing the Lesser Extreme Palace covetously, led a massive attack by their demon army. Internal strife, loss of top-tier combat power, and external threats, imminent enemy pressure erupted simultaneously, forcing the palace master of the Lesser Extreme Palace to resort to extreme measures, detonating the core stronghold, the Void Spirit Hall, to defend himself and impede the enemy. After this battle, the Lesser Extreme Palace suffered heavy casualties among its nascent soul cultivators, its core buildings and inheritance secret realm were destroyed, and the sect's strength plummeted, falling from a top-tier power. Its decline was entirely due to the undeserved disaster brought about by the greed of its leaders. 3. The Reverse Star Alliance, a century-old foundation destroyed by a single crucial strike. The Reverse Star Alliance was not a traditional sect, but a loose alliance formed by the righteous and demonic parts of the chaotic Star Sea to jointly oppose the Star Palace. At its peak, under the leadership of the Six-Path Supreme Saint and Wan Sangu, it indeed possessed the strength to rival the Star Palace and almost saw the dawn of overthrowing its rule. However, the fate of this vast alliance was closely linked to Han Li's choice. As mentioned earlier, before their self-destruction, the Heavenly Star Twin Saints successfully pulled Han Li into the Star Palace's camp. For the Reverse Star Alliance, Han Li was an unpredictable variable, and this variable played a decisive role in the final battle. When the Reverse Star Alliance and the Star Palace faced off in their final showdown, Han Li's target was clear: his supreme leader, Six-Path Supreme Saint. In a clash of titans, Han Li successfully slew Six-Path Supreme Saint. A snake cannot move without a head. For the Reverse Star Alliance, an alliance bound by interests and complex internal factions, the sudden fall of its supreme leader was devastating. Without Six-Path Supreme Saint as its core and banner, the power balance within the alliance was shattered, and various factions quickly descended into infighting and division in their struggle for self-preservation and profit. The Star Palace seized the opportunity to launch a counterattack, and this once powerful and influential resistance alliance, which had dominated for centuries, crumbled and vanished in an instant. Han Li played the role of a key factor and a decapitating blade, decisively shaping the landscape of the chaotic Star Sea for the next several centuries. 4. The Sea King Clan Alien Sea Monster Clan, the Backlash of Opportunists. The Sea King Clan is a powerful demon race ruling the Outer Sea, the region where demon beasts gather in the chaotic Star Sea, with the Golden Flood Dragon King as its overlord. While the Star Palace and the Reverse Star Alliance were locked in a fierce and mutually destructive civil war, the Sea King clan saw this as a golden opportunity to expand their influence into the Inner Sea, the human-dominated region. However, they misjudged the situation, particularly underestimating Han Li's influence. After Han Li assisted the Star Palace in quelling the Reverse Star Alliance's rebellion, he would not stand idly by and tolerate any force attempting to disrupt the existing balance of the chaotic Star Sea or potentially trigger new turmoil. The Sea King clan's invasion happened to be their target. Han Li showed no mercy to the demon race either. He penetrated deep into the Outer Sea, swiftly and decisively killing several high-ranking transformed demon cultivators of the Sea King clan, significantly weakening their command and high-end combat power. The most shocking battle was undoubtedly his confrontation with the overlord of the Outer Sea, the clash with the Golden Flood Dragon King. In this duel, Han Li displayed overwhelming strength, not only defeating the Golden Flood Dragon King but also extracting its demon core. For demons, the demon core is equivalent to the nascent soul for human cultivators, the core of their cultivation and life. Even if the Golden Flood Dragon King didn't die, his cultivation was completely destroyed. This battle shattered the Sea King clan's expansionist ambitions and greatly deterred the entire alien sea demon race. After this battle, the Sea King clan suffered severe damage, with a serious gap in their high-end combat power, rendering them unable to mount an effective challenge against the human forces of the chaotic Star Sea for a long time. Han Li, single-handedly, safeguarded the peace of the Inner Sea for humanity and completely halted the Sea King clan's rise. Looking back on Han Li's journey in the human realm, he was like a boulder thrown into a calm lake, the ripples it created profoundly influencing the fates of many surrounding forces. The rise and fall of the Luoyun sect, Huangfeng Valley, Xinggong, and Qianzhou sect, along with the decline of the Yinluo sect, Xiaoji Palace, Nixing Alliance, and Haiwang clan, together form a vivid yet cruel picture of the cultivation world. The core principle of this picture is cause and effect. Han Li himself is both a practitioner of this principle and, to some extent, its embodiment. His story tells us that in the dog-eat-dog world of cultivation, power is fundamental, but how one uses power and handles relationships with others, whether based on gratitude or enmity, equally determines how far one can go on the path and how profound one's influence. The rise and fall of these sects is not only a footnote to Han Li's personal growth but also a profound reflection of the survival philosophy of the entire cultivation world. What are your thoughts when you review the ups and downs of these sects? Do you lament the Xiaoji Palace's decline due to greed, or admire the Luoyun sect's rise due to its discerning eye? Or perhaps you have your own unique insights into Han Li's clear-cut approach to gratitude and resentment? Feel free to share your thoughts and insights in the comment section. If you enjoyed this in-depth analysis, please like, share, and support us. See you next time to explore more of the fascinating mysteries of the cultivation world.